What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Today on the show, I have Tara of Tiger Style coming to us straight out of Ohio. Might be my first guest from Ohio. I don't even know. But it's a different scene out there. I can tell you that. Now, she has an interesting history. She's lived a very crazy life. She gets into that on the episode. She won before Passe's sweepstakes, which he ran, allowing somebody to get a full paid trip to his rag house to LA to see how the vintage business goes, and then also to get a exclusive spot on the 1980 something Co virtual fleet. She won that. She deserved it. It sounds like she appreciated it a lot. She learned a lot. We talked about that on the show. You know, she's new to the whole social media game, Instagram game. She said she didn't even have a phone number till recently. Kind of crazy. And now she's crushing it, going live super late into the night and doing her thing, getting amongst it. And yeah, it's a great chat. So stay tuned for that. But before we do that, we're getting into the vintage news, okay? First up on the vintage news, basically the only big news I got for you guys this week is Full Court's Nike haul. They freaking crushed it down in Florida. I don't really know where they were. Probably in Florida because that's where they're from. But they came up on a sports store. Tons of dead stock Nike. Looked wild to me. Tees. They got shorts. They got sports gear. They got store fixtures. Some AOP Hurricanes gear. Just a wicked dig. It looked full on. They didn't really leak all the stuff yet. They got jerseys. They got champion jerseys, I think. So it just goes to show you that digging is not dead. Get out there. Go find some shit. It still exists, okay? Lately, I've been thinking more about the planet. I recently watched the David Attenborough documentary, his testament to the state of the world. It's pretty wild. It's pretty scary. I'm not going to lie. You know, that recent countdown clock in New York City that I forget who did it, but some artist put up this countdown clock till the point of no return. We're only 7 years away from the point of no return on global warming. 7 years is going to go by like that. If we don't get our freaking act together, we're basically done as a human race. It's pretty scary. If you know me, you know I'm into this shit. You know I want to help the planet. You know I'm promoting living sustainably. I'm promoting sustainable business. But in the truth of the matter is, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. You're probably not doing enough. The big corporations aren't doing enough. We all have to do more. We all have to actually step up our game so that our kids have a future on this planet. So what I've decided I'm going to do, I'm going to hire a full-time position within my company, Frankie Collective, whose sole job, whose sole role is to raise money to support initiatives helping the planet, to educate our customer base on how they can help the planet, to come up with creative ideas to raise the money. It's basically going to be a full-time eco-warrior position, okay? How fulfilling is that as a job role? You get to raise money, you get to sleep good at night because all you're doing is helping the planet every day in and out. I'm going to do that. If I wasn't running the company, I'd be doing this role myself. But I have to run the whole program, so I'm hiring someone specifically for this role. If that sounds like you know, it can be a remote position, preferably in Canada, in Vancouver. But if that sounds like you, or you know someone who'd want this role, obviously marketing is an important background for this role. A history in fashion, a history in vintage and streetwear would be an asset. Creativity is a big asset. But yeah, I'm looking. That's what I'm going to do. It's happening. Okay. If you don't even know, I own Frankie Collective. It's one of my businesses. I have a bunch of businesses. I have Frankie Collective, which we rework clothing. I have the Rag Machine, which is like a thrift store. I have F as in Frank, which obviously has a website. We sell online, and we have 2 retail locations. A lot of things going on. I have property holdings. I'm diversified, okay, guys? But Frankie Collective is my main hustle right now. It's my main focus. It has the most growth potential, and it's growing the quickest. So want you guys to know I've been working on a mission statement. So this role as the Eco Warrior is for Frankie Collective. And Here's the mission statement I've been working on for the company. Save clothing from landfills, grow a truly sustainable business, inspire environmental stewardship, while raising money to support causes we believe in. That's the mission of Frankie Collective, okay? It's a work in progress. It may change tomorrow, probably will a little bit, but got to put some stuff on paper, got to start thinking about it. And I encourage you guys to make a mission statement for your companies, no matter how big or small your Instagram thing is, or your company, your website, whatever you're doing. A mission statement makes it clear, and you kind of look back at your mission and make decisions based on, is that decision in line with our mission? And it's super important. It's empowering. I recommend you guys do it. Other news, me and Jesse are going to start the Snapback Chronicles. I've been talking about it for a minute, but next week we're recording our first episode. We are going to be running a sub-series on the podcast just about the history of the Snapback game, the history of F as in Frank in the Snapback game, all the other players. Might even bring some other guests on for that series, okay? It's going to be rad. We're also going to finally start documenting his polo archive. It's too deep, too vast for us not to mess with it and not to show you guys. I know people want to see the polo archive. Okay, where are we at? Anything else we got to talk about here on the news? You guys know the drill. You can get 35% off fasinfrankvintage.com with code VTG and stuff. Link down below. Go check out my Patreon if you want to support what I'm doing. For as little as a cup of coffee a day, you can support me. It helps me stay motivated to do this shit, okay? Also, if you haven't checked my Patreon, that's cool. I'll still keep doing this. Still love you guys. But I'm going to drop my list of my top 20 things that I like to sell. It's basically my list of the top 20 easiest things to sell, okay? Online. Basically, top 20 easiest things to sell online list is going on the Patreon. Check that out. You can sign up. I put tons of exclusive content on there that you don't get on the regular podcast. So check it out. Also, check out the link for the Amazon. My Amazon page down below where you can find resources, more books about learning about vintage. I'm going to try to do another 10 for 10 video marathon. Got to get back to pumping out some different content, guys. And yeah, that's it. Let's get into this episode with Tiger Style.
Welcome to Vintage and Stuff with True High Fits. Welcome to Vintage and welcome to Vintage and Stuff with True High Fits. Welcome to Vintage and welcome to Vintage and Stuff. True High Fits. Welcome to Vintage and welcome to Vintage and Stuff. Vintage and Stuff. We got vintage clothing by the rack. Yeah, just check out my Insta. How you gon' argue with that? Everything you see, I manifest. I'm an architect. I think I'ma run it back. We got vintage clothing by the rack. Just check out my Insta. How you gon' argue with that? Everything you see, I manifest. I'm an architect. I think I'll have some of that.
Okay, we're on. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on, Tara. Is Tara or Tara?
Tara. Like it's spelled like Sarah too. I got an H at the end of my name.
Nice, very unique. Coming to us from Ohio. I don't think I've had anybody from Ohio on the show.
Really dope.
Yeah, like you said before, so many people are on the West Coast, or there's a lot of people on the East Coast, like New York and Texas. I guess a lot in Florida too, but not a lot in Ohio. So what's the scene like in Ohio?
There is there's a scene now, but there wasn't a scene at the beginning of the year. Let's say that.
So what is the scene? What's your picking regime? How do you find stuff in Ohio?
Well, I've been picking in the wild, like exclusively a full-time job since 2013. So basically like had the bins to myself type of shit.
Oh, the good old days.
Back way back when. Not anymore. The bins are a thing. But yeah. So the scene is now there's some cool cats, that are new to the game that, and this, and anyone watching that is like a true picker, you can pretty much smell another picker from a mile away, right?
Oh
100%.
Yeah. 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 So definitely just kind of like, okay, there he is. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one. There's actually a couple of smaller accounts that are in my hometown, which is mind blowing to me.
Yeah. So let's talk about those early days. So how did you get into it back in 2013?
Okay, so yeah, I had a friend. I just always like bought vintage and liked vintage. Like I just had a dope ass closet and like good style. And one day my friend was like, you know that like people sell like Mickey Mouse t-shirts for like $40. And I was like, what? Like I pass on Mickey Mouse shit. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was like, damn, okay. Like, all right, well, let me look into this a little bit. And, like checked out some Etsy shit. And I was like, okay. So basically I just opened an Etsy account and like purged my personal stash of stuff, but it was all like true vintage girl stuff, like no t-shirts. You know what I mean? Like I always like I would seek out like I always looked through the tees, but it would have to be well back then for Etsy, it had to be 20 years old or older, or they would
Yeah.
like take your listing
I
down,
remember
right?
that. I remember that rule. That rule does
Yeah.
not fly nowadays.
Oh hell no. And it's funny how much it's like how much I have changed in how I'm viewing this shit. But yeah, because if it was like post 1996, like it was trash. Like I wouldn't
Yeah,
buy it. Which
totally.
is crazy. Like if it had a website on it, fuck it, it's garbage. And now I'm curating an early internet collection. So I guess I
Yeah.
wasn't really thinking big picture at that point, but
Well, it's hard to. I mean, I saw on your Instagram, you're 31. You're 31, right?
31, yeah.
Yeah. So even me, I just turned 40. Now I can see those trends and I can kind of look at it differently and be like, okay, this is next. This is coming in. But it's hard when you're young to look and have foresight into what's going to be next because you're very in
Yeah,
the moment. You're very like, what's happening now? What can I sell now? It's hard to really look 10 years out and kind of project.
for sure. And I think that I always kind of considered, I mean, until recently, like a vintage purist. I mean, I still am a vintage purist because, like, okay, I just bought and I paid up a little bit for a Prometheus T-shirt. That's a movie from 2012. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have paid more than $4. I would have left that on the racks a year ago.
Yeah.
A printed
Wow.
tag, fuck a printed tag. You know what I mean? Like, no. So
So I think you have an advantage though by being in it and coming up through true vintage. For one, you understand fashion that way, right?
mhm,
You're not just a t-shirt junkie.
right,
You have something else that you can rely on, which also, I preach this shit, but when you're in the bins or you're in a thrift, it's like you want to kind of maximize what you're doing. It's situational. You're there. It's like if you see something that is worth money or it's cool to a different demographic, like why wouldn't you take that and why wouldn't you learn about
diversify.
that? Totally.
Yes.
So I think
That's
it's
actually my challenge, but damn, maybe I should come up with a new one in the meantime.
well, no, that's cool. We'll save that for the end. But yeah, no, I think it's cool because I don't talk. I talk to a lot of different people on the show. Probably more these days, t-shirt heads, but not a lot of people that know about true vintage. And I do promote people to learn about it. So that's cool that
Yes.
you started in that. So back in those days, like what were some true vintage things that you were into?
Okay, so I like back then I feel like 70s was really popping, right? So anything that was like from the 70s, like 70s bells, you know, which is still like they're still worth good money. But I think that really for me out of my personal closet, like that first stash, it was like a lot of 60s stuff. Like like mod kind of shit like that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like I was saying, I would always look through the t-shirts, but I wouldn't waste time on like I would just buy them and post them like, oh, cool, but for $25 for me back then, it really wasn't worth the time of making the post and measuring it and all the tag words and all that shit if I could sell a dress for 80. You know what I'm saying? So it was just kind of like back burner. Like I would always buy them, but I would just like not photograph them. And also I know that you don't know much about me, but um I have hordes and hordes of it. My basement is full, my attic is entirely full, and now my front room and middle room is full full.
So this is full of mixed vintage, everything.
Mostly all true vintage, like 70s Timberlands, like shit like that. I probably have maybe like 200 Levi's that are just sitting upstairs.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty
like,
sick. So what's the plan? This
ugh.
is just are you just like a hoarder style, or are you didn't have time to list it, or like what's the deal?
Sure. Well, because of like being in Southwest Ohio and going to the bins, and no, I mean, people are elbowing to grab a dirty Nike flip flop, and I'm grabbing the 70s Timberlands. No
Yeah.
one else is. I mean, it's just hand over fist. So it's just really been like a mass accumulation that I have. Like, I mean, I see that's why I feel like Cortland's like, okay, shit, like, you know,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
let's build her up a little bit kind of thing because
That's super cool.
I could do big things.
Do you ever see like wholesale clients come through your area? Like do you have Japanese clients?
No, but I did get some I have I only had two Instagram like actual connections before this because I've said this before, but I've not said it to you. Um, so yeah, around here, there's no like colleagues type of thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there was one big picker based out of Cincinnati, you know, and we would like smell each other from a mile away and be like, hey, what's up? But like that's it, right? Like we weren't really confident enough, like talking or shit like that, like being friends. But there is two dudes that were day ones for me on social media, and I'm talking day ones. Because I only made the account because Etsy was like, make an account, it'll help sales. It never did. My shop did fine. I didn't need Instagram.
So
But I had two
who
day
are the
ones.
people? Who are the day ones?
Lenny, get it, 702.
Yeah, yeah.
Been liking, showing me love since fucking day one.
That's so
Day
rad.
one, for sure. Yes.
Super G, OG Lenny. And he's from
Okay.
Is he from Cincinnati? Yeah.
He's from Cleveland.
Cleveland,
So
that's
that's
right,
what I was
yeah.
gonna say. It's funny because he's been in Las Vegas forever. Like he was in Las Vegas then, but he was like, he's an Ohio boy. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Like that. And then also the other one, Greg, his new last shirt standing was his old account, but now he started free shipping vintage. And it's freeshippingvintage.com. Greg, and he's from Akron. So two Ohio
Okay.
boys, goats, like the hardest hustle, listing fucking like too many shits per day, like
Yeah.
idols, and they made time out for me. But it wasn't like starstruck. But now looking back, I'm like, damn, man, like Lenny was fucking with me in 2012. Like, that's dope.
Yeah, that's super rad.
And he feels so outside of it. And it's crazy because I feel so outside of it. You know what I mean? Like of the whole scene of like the social media aspect.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that on our episode together. There's a lot of
I
things going
watched that.
on.
Yeah.
And yeah, so many things have changed. He's been in it he said like 25 years, right? He was doing this
Dude,
since the
yeah.
mid 90s. So you've seen it come and go and come and go. And it's, you got to roll with it. I feel like he rolls with it pretty well. Better than a lot of people, because a lot of people just get salty on what's going on, but
Oh no, yeah. I mean, he's in his own lane.
totally.
There's no.
So I have a question. Are you a kung fu master?
Tiger style.
So about my name?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I first started my Etsy shop, and it was my personal stash, so it was Material Girl Vintage. That was my shop name, and that was my
Yeah.
Instagram page. And then I was like, fuck. So once I realized that
Obviously a Madonna vibe.
right, but
Yeah.
then I realized, okay, after maybe I made 300 sales in my first 30 days
Damn.
on Etsy. Yeah.
That's sick.
And so it was like, oh shit. Like first off, if you do that, you're probably underpricing your shit, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, buy for 2, sell for 18 at that point was a great business model.
Totally. 100%. And
It still is.
You can't get caught up. If you're doing 300 sales, even at a low value, that's huge money.
yeah, so it was just like pushing weight, but then I was like, oh man, okay, so then it kind of opened up my eye up to buying things that not necessarily I can wear, but still is cool. Someone else would appreciate. So then I started buying for like big boys and like getting 2XLs and like big jeans and stuff. And I thought, well, Tiger, like, oh, I thought it's just a little too like, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so my shop name on Etsy is Tiger Style Vintage, and that actually was my at. But about a year ago, I took the vintage off of it and added USA because too many accounts said vintage, kind of. But so
So
the
now
Wu
you're
Tang
actually,
reference.
yeah, totally. Wu-Tang reference.
Okay,
I'm
so the
gonna
Wu
show
Tang
up.
reference is one, right? Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Tiger Style. Okay. Also, that is like the fastest way to fucking kill someone in martial arts, which is like just strike for death, you know.
Yeah, I was actually
And
reading
then like
about it just
I
before, and it was like there is no defense in Tiger Style. There is only offense. You
yeah,
just
it's
get to the
literally
most
like it's
damage as quick as possible.
get to the fucking point. Yes. And then I hunt in the wild.
True.
So yeah, it just kind of made sense.
And I seen your pictures. You have cute little tiger paws in all your t-shirt pictures lately. So
Yeah, I found that tiger on the side of the road. I was like, I
now
gotta have it.
I am down with the name. It's a good one. It's memorable. So many times I see a lot of names and I forget about them. It's funny.
Yeah.
I used to give a lot of shit to. Well, I just like would make fun of different names, but there's so you're right. There's so many vintage names, and then some people have gone out and changed names because of stupid things I've said on the podcast or like YouTube
For
videos.
real?
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I'm just playing around. And then one of the guys who was about to change his name, a Vancouver homie, his name's Josh. I think it's a Van Thrift Vintage. He got hit up recently by a dude who had a whole garage full of t-shirts because his name on Instagram said vintage. So he was like, I'm so glad I didn't fucking change the name because someone hit me up. The first thing they searched in the area, I came up, boom, he called me. I got like
Dang.
1,000 t-shirts, all killer stuff, just because someone hit him up because of his name. So
Whoa.
it
All
goes both
right.
ways.
Yep. Didn't think about that.
I want to get into this contest, okay? I had Cortland on the show, and
And I watched that.
because that was an episode where he had announced the contest, and the contest was
Yeah.
he was going to pay for flight, a hotel in LA. You get to come for a week. You pick at his rag house. You get to kind of be mentored
And
by him
showroom.
and showroom. I don't even know the extent of it, and you
I didn't
won this
either.
contest.
Honestly, guys, like straight up, I didn't even watch your interview with Cortland until 2 weeks after I won it. Because I hadn't, no one sent it to me and I didn't know. And
Yeah.
I didn't know about the content. And someone nominated me because you had to be nominated.
Yep.
And someone was like, yo, I nominated you for the sweepstakes. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know? And so then I slowly started kind of like figuring out like, oh shit, like that would be dope. But like and also in the Midwest, like or especially Ohio, like there's no rag houses at all, at all. So it was kind of I was just like, damn, like almost
Do you,
figuring it out along with everyone. And actually had someone else say that they did as well after the fact.
okay, so
Um,
you might have had more than you know, really. Maybe that's why you won partly.
Maybe. Well, I don't know though. After figuring out what it all entailed and why. See, because when it was announced that I won, because Cortland's idea, like he said when he was doing the interview with you, he was like, "It's not about me. Like I'm gonna let someone else announce it." And like the
Yeah.
plan was, okay, Wiz will announce it because of his crazy following. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
just like put me out there more, kind of thing.
So how did that
So,
all go down? How did the announcement go down, and how did you know to be tuning in when he announced it?
dude, yeah. And actually, it's funny because Wiz did ask me that. Okay, so Cortland sent me a message and was like, yo, this is maybe like a week before. It was like, yo, like you're a finalist. But maybe it was before that. But it was like you're a finalist. If you won, could you come out to LA for a week, essentially, you know? Because I got kids, right?
Yeah, totally.
So, but he had already chosen me at that point. I didn't know that. And I was just like, oh, I'm a finalist. Like, okay, cool, whatever. And then the day before it was going to be announced, he was like, yo, you're still a finalist. But the person that wins has to be watching Wednesday. Are you going to be able to like be available for that? And I thought, oh my God, this man, like if he's telling me this shit and I don't win, like, so as soon as he sent me that message, I was like, oh fuck, like that seems like I won. So I kind of had like an idea that
Yeah, it's
otherwise
going
why would we
down.
say watch it? You know what I mean? Like that would just be cruel. Like me just sitting like that. But I always try to like not get my hopes up. Just because easier to like just not have to deal with disappointment. And like that's always been my thing. So like worst case scenario is like my go-to kind of thing, just so I don't get my hopes down or, like get disappointed.
Yeah.
A trip of a lifetime, no one wants to think they're going to get that and then lose it. That's worse than not getting it. So
So you're watching the live, and Wiz is going off. He's doing his
okay, so
thing.
right. So I'm thinking, oh my God, like this has to maybe, but like probably not. Probably not, Tara. Like don't like don't think about it. And then yeah, Wiz was like Tiger Style USA, like come in here, and I was just like, oh shit. Yeah, and then he's like, because that the I know that and if anyone else watching that hasn't watched Cortland's interview should definitely watch Cortland's interview before Passe. Because and it's funny because I hadn't known that yet, like how deep it was, because it's not really about like it's not just like some random giveaway. I mean, yeah, it's deeper than that for sure. So, and then Wiz knew that. So Wiz is like, yeah, what's your story? And I was just like, and there's 200 people watching, there's hearts going, and I'm just like freaking out. And I just kind of thought, where do I start? Like, I mean, I don't know, but
The
regardless.
sweepstakes couldn't have gone to a better person, and we've talked about this off camera, but you've had a pretty crazy life. So get into it. Share it with the people.
I know where to start. Okay, well, I think probably the first thing to say is that yeah, my dad committed suicide when I was 3, and I have a half brother, and he was a baby. And he also did it in front of my grandpa, and he
So
didn't
is
die right away.
your half brothers aren't from your dad?
Mm-hmm.
So your grandpa saw your dad die. That's wild.
Well, yeah, he actually didn't die right away. He was care flighted. I feel like it took him like a day and a half to die.
Did you ever have any closure with that? Like why?
I mean, yeah, honestly, because yeah, we haven't. Thank you for that question, because we haven't talked about that. I think that like when something like that happens so young, where there was like I'm like, yeah, my dad's dead, and people be like, oh, I'm so sorry, and I'd be like, that is what my dad is. My dad is dead. My dad, I don't have memories of my dad. You know what I mean? Like that's my dad was always dead for me, like mentally. But then I think that, yeah, because I used to have reoccurring dreams of like blaming myself kind of thing. I feel like when a parent chooses to leave you like that, it's definitely, yeah. So I had reoccurring dreams where he would hand me a gun and like want me to shoot him. So that happened for like years.
Crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so that's definitely like the beginning of my thing for sure. And my mom, she was young, and we don't get along. We don't associate really, but I do kind of give it to her where it's like, I do understand, like imagine having a baby in high school with a guy that's like older, out of high school, whatever, and then like him doing that, like that just, I couldn't imagine. So, but and then struggling with like mental health, has been like a thing for sure, because I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but yeah, for real. And this might be cathartic. I've always known like there can be no guns in this house. Well, now that I have Clifton, now that I have my son, it's different, because I would never do that to him, no matter how much I wanted to do it. But yeah, I mean, Clifton's only 3, so up until 3 years ago, I'm like, okay, because sometimes there is a heat of the moment, and like that's what happened to my dad. Like he didn't write a note, you know what I mean? I don't think he fucking planned it. It was just one of those things where it's just like, fuck it, it's easier to do like that. I'm like, I don't know. I've definitely struggled with like feeling suicidal in my teens for sure. You want to talk about the mountain?
Yes, let's hear about the mountain.
Okay.
So obviously that happens, and your mom raised you after that, but obviously your
Yeah, and
mom's going through some crazy shit of her own, mental health issues, dealing with a man that just killed himself.
mm-hmm. Well, they weren't together, but you know, yeah, because he was married to my brother's mom. And actually, like he's probably not gonna watch this. So my brother's trans, so it was like always like my sister, but like my brother, he's definitely my brother now. Like he's totally a dude. So, but just that's a little added context. But yeah, so my mom remarried to a guy that was, 16 years her senior, and we had a good little bit. I had 2 stepsisters, so swim team, went to private school for a little while. So we were on the up and up almost. And then they got divorced and I was by myself with her, and that was just very, so I think, and she abused my oldest stepsister when I was younger. I was kind of like out of focus, but she abused Ashley a lot. Ashley was 5 years older than me. So by the time that I got, back into just me and my mom, I was like 11. And I think that she started like, I don't know, it was just like seeing herself in me or something like that, where it just like shit just changed. It was almost overnight. It was crazy. Yeah. And we didn't have food in the house. Like, oh man. And she abused the shit out of me. Like, yeah. Okay. Like, yeah. Cutting my hair as a punishment, like my beautiful long hair, like cutting it off, like while I'm bawling, like, a freshman in high school.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like making me say bad things about myself in the mirror. Like I had to do all the chores. Like she didn't lay a finger, like, and she didn't cook. I had to do all the dishes, all the laundry, all the cleaning. It would be crazy. And I had no freedom. At all. Like I'd be like, hey, can I spend the night with Lauren? And she'd be like, oh yeah, we have to clean the entire house and then you can go. And then I would do all that. And like Lauren would be on her way to come pick me up. And she would like check, almost like white glove test, just to fuck with me. And it would be like, oh, you emptied the trash can in the bathroom, but you didn't put a new bag in. Tell Lauren to go home. You're not going. Just like shit like that, just like fucked up. Like, yeah, grabbing my face and twisting it. And she always had naturally long nails. I remember having scratches and bruises. And so children's services had been contacted, but around here, I guess, like I was telling you, I was living in Montgomery County at the time. It's like Dayton metropolitan area. So yeah, by the time they got involved, I was 17.
And you're in legal custody of your parents till you're 18. I'm assuming. Right.
Yeah. And they own your ass. Like, yeah. Yeah. So, but I was placed with my grandma, like, so children's services intervened. Oh man, God. And that story's long too. This is so fucking, you can definitely cut any of this out if you want, but.
Well, no, I mean, if you want to share it, I think it's good. I think it's, thanks for sharing.
But, actually the straw that broke the camel's back. And I'll never forget it. Shout out Mr. Masinko, the principal at Valley View. It was a new school that I was going to. I changed schools like 3 times, like within the high school years. So at that point, it was just like, don't even worry about making friends. Like everybody's clicked up, you know, like I was an outsider and I didn't give a fuck, you know, and I was already doing my own thing. So I didn't care about it like that. But yeah, okay, so shit. Yeah, I remember she kept me at, she would do this like where it would be like a school night, and she would actually like accuse me of some shit that I didn't do, like something like I definitely didn't do, until like 3, 4, 5 in the morning, to the point where I would just admit that I did, even if I didn't. And so it was just like it's just like all right, yeah, all right, I'm sorry, you know what I mean, just like let me go to sleep kind of thing. And I woke up after one of those nights, and it was just, I think it was the night that she cut my hair like that. And I mean, like, she cut like fucking like over a foot off of my hair. But I just went to school, and I was just in my head. Like I sat alone at lunch all the time anyway. Like I was, you know, listening to music. Elliott Smith, of course, the most depressing shit you could ever listen to, right? Why not wallow in your sorrows? And I just started writing what literally happened just that night. And it came to be like 2 pages. And I thought, and I gave it to my principal, Mr. Masinko, and he was like, oh shit, like, and so I had my truck, so I mean, like, I didn't have to get picked up or anything, so I think I stayed behind a little bit. But so he called, and came from school. She was like, did you tell anybody what happened last night? And I thought, you know what, because I knew he had already called Children's Services, and I thought, this is my chance. And it was almost gave me like some power too. I was like, yeah, I did. And she was like, who? And I was like, the fucking principal, and like that he called Children's Services. Oh my gosh, she takes me to the police station because she'd been giving me weed, rolling up weed, letting me smoke in the house. She's delinquent, she's unruly, she smokes weed. Took me to my dad's grave, screamed and said, like, you shot to leave me with this. I like, just crazy. And then, yeah, so within like 2 days, I met with the ladies. There was like a team of ladies, and I wanted to be a social worker because of that. But you know what? Then I realized, because they made me a promise. They said, you don't have to go back to her ever again. And I was like, fuck, thank God. I mean, like, wow. Yeah, free at last. But it didn't work out like that. And that's like, and now I still have another fucking 20 minutes of story on it. And I don't want this to be like a crazy long thing or like TMI, but all right. So that is the vibe where it's like, oh, fuck, I'm almost out. Like I can.
So you were let down by the social workers who made you the promise that didn't come through.
Well, actually, you know, they tried their best. And Melanie, my mom, so we had an ex parte, which is Latin for emergency hearing, which I don't know if any of y'all know anything about shit like that, but if they are pushing you through like that and making it an emergency hearing within 3 days, and they had temporarily placed me with my grandma, and we had like an order. So I thought I was home free. And I'm at school, I'm in honors English, 12, you know, senior year. And it was like, ooh, Tara, come to the principal's office. And I was like, oh shit. So I just got up, and Mr. Masinko was in tears, which was very alarming. And there were 2 people standing beside him, like fucking like cops, you know, like they weren't cops, but they looked like, you know how, I don't know how they stand, but like just some shit like that or whatever. And he's bawling, crying, like he not bawling, like, but he's crying. and he's on the phone and he's calling the Germantown police station, and he's like, okay, there's this temporary custody order, but these people, and he was like, my hands are tied.
So these guys legally had the right. They called the
So
cops. It was legit.
yeah, and so and he said, Tara, these people are here to take you to your new school. And meanwhile, you know, I'm thinking that I've got court in 2 days. I'm going back to my mama and papa's house. I've got a boyfriend. I've got friends. They take my phone. They handcuff me and walk me out of school, put me in a car, and we go straight to Dayton Airport. Now, it's funny because, like, I am such like a, like, they were just doing their job. Like, we ended up kind of bonding. You know what I mean? Like, because it's a legitimate job. They're called transporters. So my mom paid these people to take me to this like survival camp school for unruly kids. And I mean, she could say, all right, drug tester, she smokes weed, you know, she's out of control. Like, it was just her word against mine.
Yeah.
But she knew she was losing custody, and that was her last grab. And the plan was that I was going to go up there and live on a mountain in a tent until I was 18 years old, and I had just turned 17, which is fucking crazy, right? And yeah, and I don't have to go into like the big story about that, but yeah, that was September 26, 2006. And it's Colorado-Utah border. So fucking winter, right? You know, it's pretty much like, I mean, I go up there, it's like, whatever, this is the girls' tent, this is the boys' tent, get in the girls' tent. I wake up, there's like, it was very much a boys' club there too, because most unruly teens that are sent to a survival camps are boys, right? So there was like 4 girls at the time. There ended up only being like 2, and there was like 12 boys. And they were all, and like, these were all kids that like really needed interventions. There was a little girl that ran away from her family. She was 15 to like date a Latin king who was like 30. There was, there was a dude who was there for attempted murder. There was the dude that got caught with nunchucks stealing at Ace Hardware. It was concealed weapon charge, shit like that, like some real ass shit for sure. So yeah, the plan was whatever. Her plan was to fucking just ruin my life essentially, because she was losing control. So I was forced to drop out of high school immediately. Like the day they took me, I was done. And I only spent 3 months there, but it was the dead ass winter, right? And this is like survival camp type of shit where we're collecting the wood, we're carrying water, digging latrines, you know, making, we called them bow drills. And yeah, you take, if you have a little piece of cord and some rope, you can make fire with wood. Ain't no castaway. Hand drills on castaway, you can't do that with one person. You can do a hand drill if you've got 7 people in line waiting. Like, yeah, because you get tired, you need someone else to come in, you can do a hand drill like that. But yeah, I can make fire with nothing.
So you did it with the bow drill? You actually got it going?
Oh, yeah.
That shit's
Yeah,
hard.
you had to. And so that's what it is like where, and it was this system, it was actually called Mountain Home Youth Ranch, MYHR, yeah. And it was the reason it's so stupid why my mom like picked this place. She saw it on Dr. Phil.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So
And
I have a question about this place. Like when you're there, obviously it sucks. You got ripped out of high school. You got ripped away from your friends. But were they treating you like military, or was it like more like school? So it was like harsh. They're like, get up, go move this shit, dig this hole.
Okay. So you wake up to, and okay, so the people that work there, which was really kind of cool. Like I said, a lot of these kids did need some like help or like getting out of their situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doing some like fucked up shit. So the way that the schedule worked, they would work 8 days on, 8 days off. So there was basically like 2 crews. But one of the main guys, never forget it, his name was Jose. He was an ex-Marine. And he would always say, someone would ask him and he would always say, no dice. But also like he would wake you up. Like, so the wake up call was 6 minutes. So it would be Jose saying 6 minutes. And that meant you had 6 minutes to be fully dressed, have your pack complete, your sleeping bag back in your pack, your entire backpack. We moved camp every week. We would hike for miles. I mean, this was some real ass shit.
Damn.
Took showers in those like makeshift showers. So we would boil a little bit of hot water and put it in there, but like there would be cold water. By the time you would get out, physically hear your hair freeze, which is such a crazy fucking thing. Like it's like a rubbing sound. It's very odd. And there were so many rules. Like we couldn't be around the fire pit within 3 feet. And if you did, you failed your week. So if you didn't do, if you didn't make fire with the bow drill, you failed your week. Or if you said a deity, you couldn't say God. If you said deity, that would fail your week. If you stepped over the, it was just so many fucking rules. Crazy as fuck. Ew, and we had to eat germade every single morning, which is what they feed to horses. It's like, it's the lowest of the low of grits. And I don't even.
Germade. I've never even heard of this.
Germade. Yeah, and it's just like some powder ass shit that's like a whey kind of protein thing. Like and then for every lunch we had to eat rice and lentils. And and I fucking hate lentils and rice. Cook at like different times, so either the rice would be overcooked, whatever. Yeah, fuck a lentil legumes. But yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. Besides all that, like, and I haven't really even wrapped it up because I got a ticket out of there because I had, and I say frostbite as a shorthand, but it wasn't diagnosed as frostbite. But I had something happen like on this finger, and it was just like an open wound. And then the next day it was this one and this one and this one, and they were just swollen, and they were like caked with dirt. It was ridiculous. And they felt like really hot. It was like really bad. And so I would pack a little baggie with snow just to kind of ice them down a little bit, to kind of cool them down. Then finally I said medical neglect, enough. And they were like, shit, we got to take this girl to the hospital. So they did. I never went back, which is crazy because, everyone, we all just kind of consider ourselves like lifers there. Cause like everyone was just consistently failing their weeks. It was like, I'm going to get out when I'm 18. Right. Like that was it.
So if you passed your week, did you get something?
No, you would just go forward for the next week. And it was like a fucking 6-month program or some shit. It was crazy. But it's like, if you no. And at first I was like, fuck this. I don't need to be here. Like children's services is going to come and get me. Right. It was totally unfounded. I was like, this is illegal. Like I have a temporary custody order with my grandma. Like, how is this even a thing? So at first I rejected the program. And I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to try doing this stupid ass shit. But I love camping. I love the outdoors, Eventually, once I realized you're going to have to make it work, girl, So then I started trying. And then still accidentally failing, which is so frustrating. Yeah, like one time we all would brush our teeth around the fire circle. But like I said, there was a ring around it. So if like your foot touched the line, week failed. That strict. Yeah. And so we're all brushing our teeth and it was like a good night. Like no one did nothing crazy or whatever. And someone mentioned Dunkaroos, the snack. And I was like, oh shit, Dunkaroos. And I put my toe in that line. And that was the first week that I had made fire. That was the first week that I passed. But I failed it because my toe crossed the line because I got excited about 90s nostalgia. Story of my life.
So you got out of there because of the it sounds like you had like a staph infection or something on your hand.
No, and actually the doctors that were they called like several other doctors. There was literally like 5 medical professionals that were just like, we don't know, but we think that the cold exacerbates it, so she can't go back. And it was just like, all right, shit. Yeah, all right. Flash forward, fly home. Boyfriend picks me up in the dead of night that night. Go to my grandma's house, call a lawyer. done, emancipated, don't talk to my mom. She gets charged child endangerment, contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Yeah. Oh, I don't even remember the charge. I know that those were 2 charges for sure. Defying the custody order, but yeah, so that.
Yeah, wild ride, wild childhood. So, I'm glad you are out the other side. Do you ever look
Drew,
and talk? Yeah.
let me say this though. That was a wild ride, but honestly, it did make me who I am. And I still love camping. And like, honestly, it was, I mean, I will never thank that bitch for what she did. But honestly, it made me, and
Of course.
it was like a spiritual experience. Like there were only a box full of books, I read a lot, wrote a lot. It was introspective shit, like also like just building life skills on like just being like, you can drop me off in the woods and I'll survive. Like as a 17-year-old girl, I mean, I'd always had that kind of attitude, but it definitely was a bittersweet experience because it was out of my control and it wasn't my choice, but I don't regret it for a minute.
That's good. Good attitude.
Yeah.
And now you still don't have a really good relationship with your mom, correct?
Yeah, right, correct.
Do you ever think you could forgive your mom even though you're not happy with what she did?
I definitely could if she was sorry for 1 second, but she ain't. And you know what? It's funny. Me telling about like my hands and how they were, the cold, the doctor said the cold, they didn't want me in those conditions, basically. Not necessarily the cold made it happen. But I packed I would put ice on them because they were swollen and throbbing, and that was the only relief that I could get. And she doesn't know this story, right? She goes and tells everyone, I did it on purpose. I gave myself frostbite on purpose. Like, so she's so warped with her idea of like, oh, I just did what I had to do at the time. And ugh, she's like,
Yeah.
she's a very difficult person to like be around.
I'm sorry I had to go through that. And thank you for sharing it with us. And I think the sweepstakes could not have gone to a more deserving person.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, and also though, I've been on my own since I was 17. So and I was living downtown. I've been raped, robbed, car stolen, coming in, taking my TV. Like this shit I've been raped like 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah. That is true. So
I don't really even have anything to say to that, except
I know,
sorry.
right? Like, I know.
And I'm happy that you are doing well now. Looks like you have a good family.
I can say
Yeah,
that.
no more of that in the future. I'll put that in. I'll put that in.
Okay.
I mean,
so
you just said
it.
I recorded that. You're okay to put that in.
Yeah. No, I literally have. And it also not even like, I've been like in the kind of like held down kind of shit where it's like totally, but also sleep assault is rape. If this bitch is drunk and passed out on a couch, you can't drag me up the steps by my foot and fuck me all night, right? That's rape.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's happened a few times. And the dude that stole my car actually killed himself in it. He crashed it and died.
Damn.
R.I.P. Gary Roberts.
You know the guy?
Mm-mm. He was just somebody that was like in a long-term care facility. They let him walk out the front door. He's like mentally unstable. His name was Gary Roberts. He was 37. And he was in the car for 3 minutes.
So basically crashed it right around the corner from your house.
Well, I was actually at a friend's apartment complex. Yeah, and it was a Dodge Neon that I bought for $500. The speedometer didn't work. And you like couldn't turn the radio down and like the windows didn't go down and it was hot as fuck. Like he got in that car, it was blasting Hank. I saw him drive away in it. was blasting Hank Williams, and you know, you don't know how fast you're going, and you're fucked up. I don't know, it was something crazy, but yeah, he was in it 3 minutes. The dudes at the towing, like, we had never seen. The engine came out of the car before he hit the tree. It's crazy.
Fuck.
Yeah. But yeah. No, I feel like that's why, because it's not about like the struggle, really. I mean, because that makes you who you are. Like, I would never, I mean, of course I would like things to have been easier for me, but would I be as baller ass bitch as I am right now if I had put up with all that? So, you know, it's just like that. Yeah, like, it's a positive attitude kind of vibe where I'm just like, yeah, that's the story, but it made me, and I wouldn't take it away for nothing, you know?
Yeah, that's the right attitude. Do you feel good about sharing it?
I do.
That's good.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of interesting though to think about. Like, I don't mind this, like, going out to the vintage community, but it's going to be a little different coming out to like people who know me my personal life but don't know me like that. You know what I mean? This was like, I would say, just to shorthand it, like, just charitable as fuck, right?
Yeah, totally.
Complete charity.
So you went on live with Wiz, and obviously you were like nervous. You had so much emotion going on, and was that the first time you went live? Or have you been going live before that?
Okay, so I had gone live once because I did my set with Chris on the virtual flea the same weekend that you dropped your hookups. So that was, you know, a few weeks before, several weeks
Okay.
before, I think. And then just slowly started like getting a little bit more following, like tuning into like other people's stuff. Maybe I would like be on a live where there's like 10 people in the room, but you know, nothing like that. Like, that was the second time that it was like big league shit. I was like, oh fuck, you know.
Yeah.
All right, I'm cussing a lot.
That's all good. That's what's good about the lives, you know? You can speak your mind. So how did that go down? Obviously, like you said, you're a mom. You're a mother of 3?
Okay, so I have 2 stepsons. Well, Jake and I aren't married. But yeah, we've been together for 5 years, and he had 2 sons, and he gets them every weekend and 2 days a week. And so I was like, if I'm gonna be doing this mom thing, like, let me go ahead and make another kid about it, just so
Yeah.
like there's no empty net, or just, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we just planned Cliff, and so I have my 3-year-old son, and then I have his 2 stepsons,
Yeah.
ages 13 and 7.
So needless to say, it's full on.
Mama T. Mama T
Nice.
is, yeah.
I've seen pictures of you in the bins with your baby on your chest going for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty badass.
Oh shit, yeah. Pregnant, dude. And people always talk about like how cutthroat the bins are. But back then, like, I know we were saying, you know, like, it wasn't for vintage though. But yeah, like, people like elbowing my like pregnant belly at the bins for a dirty flip flop and leaving a 70s Timberland boot. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like, it was just
it's
crazy.
crazy. I'm
It's insanity.
but speaking on that, you see all the new pickers. You're saying like there's so many new pickers. You can smell them a mile away, right? They're like in the room, you know.
Oh yeah.
They put off an energy, and
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't obviously as many back in the day, but there's a difference. Whereas probably a lot of those pickers now kind of hang out and chat and like shoot the shit. Where
They
like
do.
if you did see a picker back in 2013, they'd be like, "Yo, you're dead to me. Like, don't come around here." I feel like it was a lot more cutthroat between
Yes.
the different pickers. You know?
I absolutely agree with that. And that's why I was just like, oh shit, like, we can talk shop and have fun about it. Cause like I said, you know, besides Lenny and Greg, who was virtual, which was like social media, the face to face kind of thing. And I, yeah. And it's two specific major players that were just like, fuck out here with me, you know, even saying like, oh, don't buy that. People don't like that. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to, and I sold it. You know what I mean? Like, so just kind of a little bit more discouraging. Definitely not trying to share knowledge or spread love.
No, for
So
sure not.
that, yeah.
Um, so on to the next step in your journey here. You did the live, you won, and then how long was it till you actually got to go?
Okay, yeah, that's a good. About. So it was around my birthday weekend. My birthday is August 4th. I think it was announced like a little after that, and my set was September 26th, if that gives like any kind of time. So I spent 7 days in LA. I got there like the 21st, I think.
So
Something
you're a
like that.
Leo, August 4th.
Yes.
Nice. My brother's a Leo. I'm August 28th, Virgo
Oh, yeah. I know Chris's birthday's the 3rd, I think.
of
Ever was
September or August.
of August, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All
So
right.
run us through this whole experience flying to LA. Like, what were you expecting this to be like? How much
Okay, wait.
communication did you have with him before going and all that?
Yeah, I think we should back up a little bit before I get on the plane because I'm
Okay.
still like, okay, I just got announced that I won.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to figure out like, okay, this is cool. That's dope. Like, wow, I get to go pick in a rag house. Like, I kind of even don't know what a rag house is, right? So I was like, that's dope. And never been to California in my life.
Yeah.
Haven't been on a trip, and because I just don't have money like that. I never really did ever. So, so it was obviously like, wow, that's really, really awesome. But then once I realized, like, holy shit, I mean, literally, I can say it as shorthand. Cortland gave me like 6K worth of teas. True
And
story. Like, I didn't realize that was.
you didn't even have to pick them. He's just like here, or you picked
I
through his
picked,
stuff.
I like, okay, yeah, he let me like pick through his stuff and
It's
was just like,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. And I had a couple people that were like, okay, so like the shirt that I sold for the most was that Allen Iverson playoffs Kobe shirt. And I know that like a couple people had been like made offers, big offers, and he was like, nah. Like he gave me a personal grail just to sell. And someone was like, did you sell that for him? I was like, no. And I mean, honestly, there was a point where I was like, I would be fine with giving him a cut. It wasn't like that at all. It was not like that at all. Um, okay, so yeah, I then I watched the interview that you did with him, and I was like, holy shit. Okay, so like this is more heartfelt too. Like because like he was saying, like working for that like tech company or whatever, where they would have like they would put like a single mom like through school, and like pay for a kid to go to camp and shit, and like let her build up through the company. Just some kind of like hospitable ass shit.
Yeah.
Um, and not even hospitable, but just like, and like he said, if he wishes at a point like that he could be, someone would put him on, and he's at a point where he can do that for someone,
And
and he
it's
chose me,
it. You know, my
and I'm beaming.
yeah, it's so epic, and it's so cool that he did that. And for my mind, I'm like so inquisitive. I'm like, that's why I had him on. 'Cause I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
This is like something no one's ever done this. People do giveaways all the time, but this is much deeper than that. The actual
yeah,
monetary value of you going there and him giving you teas and the cost of all that is nothing compared to the knowledge and the gesture and his sincerity with the whole thing. It's just so it's
like
yeah, it's really rad, and I'm
Drew,
glad
like
you won.
I miss him. Like I already miss him because like just hanging out with him, like he has so much knowledge. Like I would think, oh my God, like you better really listen to this, like absorb this into your brain. Like just changing my perspective on it in such big ways, honestly.
So elaborate. What kind of stuff did you learn from him?
I don't know. I mean, like, I mean, you've talked to him, like he's just like he is big picture. Yeah, I mean, you're big picture. You know what I mean? Like stepping aside a little bit and like just how he like, okay, all right, all these shirts that you've bought and paid for, sitting there, but like it's dead money if you don't sell them, right? So you got to sell them. Um, damn, I don't know. Like you're kind of putting me on the spot.
That's what this is all about. That's what a podcast is. But you know, talk about you said you didn't even really know what a rag house was. You picked at the bins. You obviously picked at thrifts. You understood that side of the market.
Yeah, yeah.
And how shocking was it to see the whole system of what goes on in a rag house?
Crazy, especially because like Cortland has like a monopoly on that one. So it was just me and him.
Yeah.
So it was just, yeah, it was like really dope.
So
I mean, it's like having,
no, go ahead.
like he said, it is like having the bins to yourself. So it's not all grails, you know, it's not all fucking heart-shaped boxes that you're pulling out. I mean, there were several teas that I pulled out that I was like, oh, this is vintage. And he was like, I wouldn't have even picked those. But I was like, it's vintage though. You know what I mean? Like, um, so yeah, because it's not all bangers for me.
So
You know what I mean? It's not
yeah,
like
totally.
I have a booth at Antique Mall here. So I just like pay them like they get 7% of my sales. So I just tag it and leave it and go and just pick up my check like every month or whatever. It's pretty easy.
Yeah,
Um,
solid.
and yeah, and like especially with like the lower mids, you know what I mean? Like we got A, B, and C. Like D and E goes in the booth and it goes, which is
Nice.
crazy to me. It was such a big leap. I started a month before the pandemic with that booth, and like of course everything shut down.
Yeah, but
But
now
it
it's
is doing good
rocking.
now that it's reopened. Yeah, yeah.
That's great. I mean, and 7%, that's epic. That's nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. And I don't have to take a picture of it. I don't have to measure it. I don't have to describe it. And I don't have to list it. So it's key.
Yeah, I promote that. I've kind of told people this. I think there's not going to be an opportunity. I mean, that's like where it started, doing an antique mall or something like that. But you can go to a streetwear store and be like, let me put a rack of tees in here, or you can go to a skate shop, or you can go anywhere and just say, let's
Hmm.
make it,
Records shops.
yeah, let's make a deal.
Hmm.
You know, and if you're getting an antique mall for 7%, even if you have to pay 20% to somebody, it's still a good deal. You literally
Yeah.
tag it and put it in there and just wait.
Hmm. Oh, and I will say that I do have a booth rental, but it's because it's one of Ohio's largest antique malls. I mean, I'm in like the main room.
Nice.
Um, but it's never not paid for itself.
Yeah.
So
So back to the rags and a bale, okay? Describe a bale of clothing to the viewers here after you take your shot of vodka.
I am sorry. Hey, though, it's
Hey,
midnight.
don't,
Oh no,
don't
it's
be
what
sorry.
time is it? It's
It's like
like
1 a.m.
yeah, it's one. Uh, okay. So what was the question?
Okay.
My bad.
Okay, so describe a bale of clothing. A bit. What is a
Okay, a
bale?
bale.
What does it look like? How big is it?
Okay, so first, like, let me like mentally take you through that situation. Okay, so like you walk in, and I mean it's in like the middle of well, okay, so yeah, but it just looks like nothing. You know, it looks like some building, right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
and
Industrial area.
so you would, yeah, definitely, like in an alley, basically, and yeah, so then you walk in, Cortland's got his showroom here, and there's some offices, and then he's got like his whole like things that he's picked that's not in the showroom. It's like tons of shit, tons of shit.
Piles and
Talk
piles.
about talk about jeans. That man has more Levi's than I have ever seen.
I'm waiting for my
Um,
order, Cortland. Hit me up. He's packing jeans for me right now.
so and then oh really cool.
Yeah.
And then there's the sorted bales and then the unsorted bales. So you've got the unsorted ones, which is definitely more like the bins, right? You've got bras, there's all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah.
Oxford button downs, like it's not, like whatever. But still found some stuff in those. But then way in the back, it's just it's just stacks and stacks of things that have been picked because it's not just rag houses aren't like for vintage, right? They're for the cotton and for the modern clothing mostly, right? So like children's shirts are, and then they're all compressed into a thing and like bound tightly, and they're going to be shipped, somewhere.
Yeah.
But he let me go through a white bale, which is apparently like, it's like,
Good shit.
yeah, pretty elusive to get your hands on kind of thing.
So, okay, so these bales, these are 1,000-pound bales you're going through, big cubes of t-shirts, the white bale. And then obviously you're talking about a mixed bale, which is 1,000 pounds of, like, we're talking any garment of clothes in those mixed bales.
yeah, like
And
all of them.
yeah. So when you went through a whole 1,000-pound bale of t-shirts, how much poundage would you say you pulled out of 1,000 pounds of usable stuff? Did you guys weigh it?
No, we didn't.
Was it like
Gosh,
garbage bag full, pillowcase full, a buggy full?
okay, yeah, I'd say probably like a wheelbarrow full.
Okay. So then, yeah, wheelbarrow, I'm going to guess because I've been in this business a long time, max like 50, 60 pounds of usable stuff out of
Max,
a
like, yeah,
1,000 pounds. So it
none,
could have
no
been like,
more than, no,
yeah. A full rag bag, which is like those white burlap kind of bags, is typically like 35 pounds.
okay.
I just like to point that out because I think too many people think it's all grails all the time. And they're like, I just want to, and people will hit me up. They're like, can I buy a bale off you, Drew? And I'm like, what are you going to do with the bale, dude? You're going to open a bale in your backyard? And like, and then what are you going to do with all the stuff that you don't
Drew,
use?
it was way less than 50 pounds.
Okay. Yeah. So then you look
Even,
at that
yeah,
numbers. If you're like under 5% of usable stuff, and then even of that 5%, you're probably looking at like a couple really cool things, bunch of super mids, and then a
right. Like
bunch
you
of
found
like
like an
logo.
Apple tea, like Macintosh, computer tea, like some cool, where we're like, ooh, like one of those that just kind of get you like excited, like, oh shit, this is really it. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, and it varies too because sometimes those bales will come out of, basically how the system works is if a thrift store has too much clothes, they'll put whatever they can on the racks, and then they'll take whatever they can't filter through to the racks into those bales, and then they'll sell it off to people like Cortland or any other rag house. But then also they'll pull off the t-shirts from the racks that have already been out on the floor and put them in a bale. So if you get a bale of stuff that was already on the floor in a thrift store where there's pickers,
picked over, yeah.
totally picked over, and then you're just wasting time essentially. So
Yeah.
totally hit or miss.
But it's funny because in Cortland's hustle is so crazy. He still goes through it. Like he knows, even if he knows it's not gonna be like a good bale, like he still does it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that was like part of it because like we vibed so hard, and it was just like, damn, like I mean, for me it was like a dream vacation, like trip, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for him, he's like, I gotta wake up at 5 a.m, bitch. Like I can't be drinking with you all night. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, his hustle is very, very inspirational for me.
Yeah. And in the end of the day, it is a numbers game. It's like if you go through enough of it, you'll find good stuff. It's just
Right.
it's total numbers game.
Sure.
But back to your
I mean, it's, yeah,
experience in
just
LA, like how is this your first time in LA?
first time in California ever.
First time in California ever. So what's your thoughts about California? Even though you went during COVID.
I love it. Like I didn't know. I was just like, damn, I can't. I like go to bed late all the time. I need to be on California time.
Yeah,
Like that. I was born that way. I need that.
it is nice.
No, I loved it. I mean the weather. Well, the warehouse. I mean, like the rag house was hot as heck. You know what I mean? It was super super hot.
Yeah.
So hot. I mean, the ladies that work, they get off work at 1. They start at 5 in the morning and leave at 1 because it's just too damn hot.
Yeah.
And
And you
it's
went
a
at
tin
the
roof.
hottest month in August or end of
Yeah.
beginning of September. It's like smoking hot.
It was still crazy hot. Like it was still so, because he was like, well, maybe it'll cool down a little bit, like when we planned the trip or whatever. But no, dude, it was still so hot. Like, oh, just like when you can feel like your heartbeat in your cheeks. It was like that.
Oh yeah. And dusty and the heat
And
and
dusty.
it's hard work in there when you're
Yeah.
lugging and slugging.
Oh, that's what I did want to say, because Yeah, like with like having the the bins to yourself. Um, yeah, okay, but if you go for 20 minutes, you're probably not gonna find shit. Like it's the guys that are there all day long. You know what I mean? Like you have to put in that effort. So I just wanted to touch back on that because, and I will say the young cats that I've been seeing at the bins, because I don't frequent the bins very much anymore as of late. Um, but the young homies that I've been linking up with a little bit, they're like, just kind of like chilling, whatever. Um, they're there all day long. You know what I mean? I just can't do it. I just can't do that. And I feel like, yeah, like Cortland kind of with this trip elevated me to where I'm not having to depend on like finding things on the racks or on the bins. And I can act, and he taught me about like eBay sniping and shit. Like, so now
Nice.
I can actually pay $100 for a shirt and sell it for 150. Back then, before my trip, there's no way I would do that. I mean, I would never, that profit margin for me was not good enough because I didn't have my paper up.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know what I'm saying? But if you can flip that, that's a 50 bucks made, but I just didn't have money like that.
Yeah.
So like even if I thought, wow, I could buy this right now and sell it for double, it was too expensive for me to buy. Now it's kind of like
Yeah. And
I got some like investment opportunity
and that
situation going
there's
on
lots of
here.
different ways to go about the business, and that's one of them. And it's like you can sit at home and do that. And
Yeah.
that game, when you're starting at the bins and you're new to it, you're kind of like learning. You're like, I'll invest a buck, maybe I'll win, maybe I'll lose, who cares, whatever.
Yeah.
You're not going to invest $100 if you're like, maybe I'll win, maybe I'll lose. You got to know you're going to win,
Right.
right?
You
And
gotta know it's gonna sell.
so sniping is viable, but you have to have your knowledge up, and your paper up first of all to buy it, but also you got to know you're going to be able to win, right?
Hmm.
So they're all good, and I'm kind of on the side. I'll definitely buy high prices if I know I can flip it for sure. I
Okay.
don't
Yeah.
spend a ton of time sniping. We have our own sources. We have rag houses. I have my own picking team. Like I have a full staff of pickers for us. Um, but I'll still do that. But um, I think like the new generation, it's different. It kind of goes with sneaker flipping too, because people can buy a pair of shoes for $500 and get 750, and it's like boom, you just made $250. You got to do
Right.
do a lot of little t-shirt sales to do that.
Hmm.
But if you do that a lot, because those shoes are going to sell, it's mad money. It's quick
Yeah.
flips, right?
But you
Um,
have to have that $500 and to begin with, and a lot of people that are in the game and people that I fuck with in the game are just like, damn, I wish I could. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because
yeah,
that's definitely how I feel like if I could, I mean, I probably, I'm, I want to be at Cortland's level one day. I really do. And like to be able to do what he did to me to someone else would be fucking sick as fuck. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I know like it has to, like for him, it was fun. Like he was saying in your interview with that he did with you, he was just like, okay, like a bail for me is like whatever. Like I find this like he was like, I'm gonna vicariously like enjoy someone else's like splendor, at base. It's like wow, like it's just
yeah. Like a kid in a candy store. It's all new. It's exciting.
yes, kidney store exactly.
That's so cool. And I think, do you think
Yeah,
being where you are, like he's in LA. He's in one of the most high competition cities out there. You try to do this business in New
yeah.
York, it's super hard. Try to do this business in LA, it's super hard. Even like cities like Seattle, there's tons of competition, and there's not the rag trade is actually kind of dwindling down. Like it used to be a lot bigger than it is
Okay.
now. You have an advantage being in Ohio,
I
where
do. Sorry, I'm just looking.
I think you do, because there's opportunity there.
Yeah.
Everybody does this like migration. They're like, let's go to New York, let's go to LA, let's go to Houston, Texas, let's go to Seattle, let's go to these places. They're not like moving to Ohio. And I tell people that too. I'm like, if you're serious about this business and you really want to like do it, you got to make sacrifices. And one sacrifice might be like moving somewhere where nobody else is willing to move.
Okay, let me give you guys all you. I know they're going to be listening after, so I'm saying guys in a past tense
Yeah, yeah,
or
totally.
whatever. But okay, so here's one example. So I'm coming home from like a play date, or no, I forget what it was. I don't know. I was doing some whatever, and just driving past and saw an estate sale sign. So I was like, all right, fuck it. Let me go in here and see what's going on. A barn full of 40s, 50s, and 60s ranch wear. The couple was a square dancing couple that like did
Oh my
professional
God.
shit. It's like 50 cents a piece. I got 80 pieces for like $50. I'm talking 40s suede jackets, like his and hers matching, like custom tailored in Denver, like all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to find that in LA.
No, never. Never.
No.
So that's what I'm
Sorry.
talking about. There's opportunity in these
Shout out
places.
Miamisburg, Ohio. Shout out Miamisburg, Ohio. It was a farm and it was in a barn.
It's a sick name for a town, Miamisburg. That's the kind of shit I love. I love
And it's
hitting
like
stuff like
12
that.
minutes from me.
Yeah.
It was a major come up.
Major come up. So was that, would you have flipped that on Etsy? Or do you still have it all?
Yeah, actually, I kind of still have it all because they were like, they're grails, like chain stitched. Like I say garbadine. I don't know if people say it like that.
Gabardine.
How do you
Gab-
gabardine?
Gabardine. Because doesn't the B come before the R?
Gabardine.
Yeah, the gabardine.
Right,
So
but
people
you
who are
know what?
listening who don't know what that is, it's a wool based
Yeah.
material, but it's very soft, and they made it in like the 30s, 40s, 50s. You don't really see it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like a rayon kind of feel, a little bit maybe. But no. So as I am self-taught, and so when you read a word that you don't know how to pronounce, you just like make it up in your head. And I've never really like shooted shit with anyone else that like talks about like even earlier tonight I was saying I call him Raglins and he said Raglan and I was like, oh shit, like I've never really, you know what I mean?
Totally.
He was like, oh, the sleeve, but
Yeah. So a raglan sleeve is when the sleeve line hits the neckline.
there's no shoulder measures. It's neckline to sleeve.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a good segue. We're gonna jump into some trivia then.
Okay, cool.
You ready for the trivia?
Damn. Yeah, I hope I don't. Yeah, I think so.
I think your knowledge is way beyond my trivia, actually. Because we haven't never
Ooh,
talked,
you
so I didn't know.
want to try to get me on a stumper though, huh? Go for it. Shoot your shot. I'm ready.
Okay, this one should be an easy one because you spent the time with Cortland. What happens to the T-shirts that nobody wants, that don't get picked or don't get used for resale?
They get cut and made into rags.
True. Ding, ding, ding. You got the right answer. So they get cut, they get bailed.
I was going to say, pull one out of your head. Like, actually try to stump me. I'm intrigued now.
Well, I'll run through this list and then I'll come up with something.
Okay.
What year was Ralph Lauren founded?
Oh, god damn. I don't know that.
It's on a lot of their clothing.
Polo? Just
yeah.
Polo or like Ralph Lauren, I don't know, like 80s? 90?
Nope.
Fuck, I don't know that.
Okay, well, we got you at that one. It was 1967. You see it on so many polo pieces. Yeah, like it'll be like, they'll just put it on like collegiate sweaters.
Yeah, I guess I did know that. Yeah.
Okay.
My bad.
What's vintage clothing called that has never been sold?
Dead stock?
Ding, 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 ding.
Well, have you, okay.
Yeah,
I was just, I'm kind of freaking out. Like, have you ever found like 6 polo pieces in the past, like recent
60s polo pieces?
That's crazy.
It's actually, it's written on
just Ralph Lauren.
Yeah, it's written on so many of his pieces, but the stuff, so he basically started making men's ties, just like neckties. So it was like formal wear, and then he got into like kind of like that golf wear, and you can find really old golf shirts, but it's tricky. I bet you people don't even know because the tags are basically the same. Like the tag didn't change. Like the details are so small that you'd be like, it's just a polo golf shirt. So it's hard to
Right.
tell.
Okay.
And there
Wow.
is little details. My brother's the polo nerd, and he knows more than me about it even. And there's ways to tell. There's something about the size. So the polo tag is like the blue tag, and then they'll have a little smaller size tag. And the size tag, if it's like a very minimalist font, if the size tag is like a very minimal font, it's the vintage one. If it has like more of like a cursive kind of look to it, then it's like a newer one.
Okay. Uh-huh.
It's little details like that because like the tags didn't change very
Damn.
much. Yeah,
That's interesting. So someone could have something that they think is from the 90s that could be like early 70s, late 80s, whatever.
totally.
Interesting.
And there's
All right.
different
I'm
ones.
going to start paying
There's
attention. All right. Next question. My bad. But thank you for teaching me.
yeah, for sure. Okay, what fabric blend are most 80s t-shirts?
50-50 poly.
Ding, ding, ding. Yep. Poly cotton, which is what we always used to look for. You probably looked for when you started picking, and now we're picking 100% cotton
Everyone's
90s
like, fuck
t-shirts.
poly. Yeah.
Back poly cotton. And the 80s shirts are all small fitting because people wore them tighter back then. It's funny
Yep.
when you look at t-shirt fabrics over the years. It was 100% cotton in the 70s. Then it went 50-50. And in the 70s too, and like maybe even 60s, they had like a rayon cotton blend that you'd see
I
sometimes.
like tri-blend. Yeah.
Tri-blend's sick. Tri-blend was also 80s. That's
Mhm.
poly,
Mhm.
rayon, cotton. And that
Mhm.
usually
Or
those are
sometimes like Vivicos.
those are Vivicos. Yeah, it's a good one. I haven't heard that word in a while. Those are the tri-blends are typically like the heather gray. Nike made tri-blends.
Mm-hmm.
You get those
Mm-hmm.
you get those camel shirts on tri-blends with the sneakers
Love
tag.
camel
The
shirts.
sneakers tag.
Oh yeah, sneakers tag.
And
Yeah.
then
Okay. All right. Next question.
now it's 100% cotton, all the 90s stuff. And to this day, most of the
I
stuff we
mean,
wear is 100% cotton.
yes, but I feel like I still have love for all those old shirts. Like, I do want to say that like I mentioned how I would always pick vintage shirts but not really invest my time in selling them. Um the most I ever sold a shirt for before just a couple weeks ago with Cortland was it was a trefoil 70s Nike that I found in my local thrift store for like $1.
Nice.
And I just like posted it, and I had like, and this was at least, oh my gosh, this is probably, yeah, 8 years ago. And I had like tons of dudes from Malaysia in the DMs, and they were like outbidding each other. I don't know if they were all friends. I don't know how they found my page. I didn't know nothing. But I was just like, oh my God, like I was just gonna list it on Etsy for like $80 and they were like 220. Yeah, it was 220 was the highest.
Did it
That
have
was
the was it a rainbow trefoil?
it was.
Yeah. See, those ones go
Yeah.
big, and people love those ones. And it's weird because why does Thailand love tri-blend and 3D emblems? It's like they're very
I
specific
feel like
about what they like.
they were on that shit way before. I mean, because I was like, oh God, y'all want this t-shirt that bad. Like it was crazy to me. And I feel like no one around here, at least, maybe on social media, but not then. I feel like that was I told myself I was rich after that. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it.
Okay,
That's
next question.
crazy.
Talking about 3D
Okay.
emblems. 3D emblem made what type of t-shirts?
Ooh, well, I mean, mostly like Harley, but I actually just found like Marines. Once a Marine, always a Marine one. That
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
I was
And I
looking for
sold it to a Marine.
really nice.
Yeah, shout out Marty McFines, dude. I gave him a steely price because, like, fuck yeah, that needs to go to a Marine. It was dope.
Artie McFines is a Marine.
And I got it at a garage sale the day before for $1.
Nice. See, Ohio. Come ups. Last question I have on my list, but I'm going to think of more for you.
Okay.
Who is the founder and
Okay.
current owner of Patagonia?
Ooh, I don't know. And actually, I never really cared about Patagonia, and I swear to God, I passed on like hella Patagonia pieces. Not really until I realized, like, me and Cortland were talking about it. I was like, really? Like, how much do they go for? And he was like, no, I would
Yeah.
leave Patagonia.
Okay. It's Yvonne Chouinard. That's kind of vintage knowledge, but it's kind of just brand knowledge. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's ask, because you were talking about 70s flares. Okay, so the mid-range, not a Bell, but a 70s Levi's flare. What's the number code?
70s Levi flare. Oh my God, I don't think I've ever had a Levi flare.
Okay, the 646 is like a classic flare bootcut Levi. You'll find from
Okay,
the 70s.
my top sellers would be 512s. 512s all day.
Okay. Okay. Okay, one more Levi's question.
Mm-hmm.
How do I word this one? The rivets on the pockets of Levi's were scratching the Cowboys' saddles. So what did Levi's do to answer this problem? This is like in the early 20th century.
The rivets on the pockets?
The rivets on the pockets, exposed rivets, were
Mm-hmm.
scratching the saddles of Cowboys' leather saddles. So they had to come up with a solution to this problem.
Please tell me the answer to this. I don't know.
So what they did was, it's called the hidden rivet, so they actually riveted the pocket on from the inside, then flipped it over and sewed it so that it was just fabric, and the rivet was like underneath. And those are like
Okay.
really sought after Levi's now. So
Damn.
if you get an old pair of
That's
Big
some
E's and you like look in the inside, you'll see the rivet on the butt on the inside, but you won't see it from the outside.
interesting.
But if you get a pair with the exposed rivet, that's hella old, worth hella money.
That's super old. Okay. I've got some DC, like brand DEECE.
Yeah.
Love those. And like and I found in Cortland's Rag House grail pair of green DC overalls, and I packed my red pair because like I love them. But yeah, these are DC jeans right here, and
Nice.
these are awesome.
Yeah, that brand's cool. Is it like a
Yeah,
forest green, the overalls?
Washington. I'm sorry.
Are they forest green overalls that you got?
Yeah, they're pretty. Yeah, they're pretty vibrant. Honestly,
Nice.
no,
rad.
they're lighter than forest green for sure.
Good. You were like 60-70% correct, except for the stumped Levi's questions.
You threw some awesome like hard ones. I'm appreciative of learning. That's why I was like, ooh, throw me one that I'm not gonna get right, just so I can learn some shit like what's off the top of your head, you know?
There's lots up there. Just if it comes out, you never know when it's gonna come out. So what's plans for the future now?
Yeah,
Besides
it's a big one. I mean,
raising 3 kids and
right. See, yeah, I mean, like I definitely have enough to open up a brick and mortar. I always have. But it was never like people didn't. I mean, if you can have the bins to yourself, then obviously you can't open up a shop and then make everyone pay so much more for what they could easily find themselves. You know what I'm saying? So I never really felt like the market was, with Etsy, all of my sales, okay, New York, LA, Australia, UK, Japan, top 5, right? Nothing Ohio, you know what I mean? Nothing like that. And so when I'm just getting like top retail value or just like what I'd priced it at. I don't know, but I feel like there's such an uptick and like, so honestly, I don't know. I don't know what like my 5-year plan is yet, but I know that like I'm not stopping. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So it's definitely going to build
a new wave.
a new wave.
So how much money are you doing are you still on Etsy? You still posting on the Etsy?
I haven't posted on Etsy since Christmas, but I'm still making sales. I had 350 listings and like shit just trickles in.
Yeah.
Consistently.
So most of your sales right now are on Instagram.
And the booth.
And the booth.
On lives and the booth, for sure. The booth the booth needs some attention as well. You know, like I'm focusing so much more on Instagram just because it's like getting to be able to like talk to someone, like hang out with them, or you know, sell the shirt that they've been wanting and looking for, and making that connection instead of it just kind of being an online sale or a booth that I'm not at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just more engaging. Like I definitely, if you order something from me through my Etsy shop versus my Instagram, I'm 100% shipping out faster on Instagram sales. Like totally, just because it's a personal interaction. Like, I mean, I'm not saying like I'm delinquent on Etsy, but Etsy's just kind of back burner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same with the booth, just because like I have so much energy in this because it's more than my fucking clothes at this point for me. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That
And
makes
I
sense.
think you're right. I've done some lives and it is super fun. I did 3 hours with Coop and we just kept going. You get to chat to people. You know,
Yeah.
I know so many people in this business from like I go to California once a month normally. I haven't been seeing any of them. And honestly, now most of my good friends are from this business. And not strictly from Instagram, but just from like making personal relationship with the Rose Bowl. Some people I probably met online first. And I I do appreciate doing the lives, and you get to kind of like connect with the people, you know, like selling something on
Yeah.
eBay or my website. I mean, a lot of my website sales are people I know because I drive the traffic, but selling something on eBay is so unsatisfying. As I'm sure the same with Etsy, and
Hmm.
it is fun to make these connections. So on that
Yeah.
note, where do you think
It's,
this market's going to go? Where do you think this market, like there's so much happening.
I mean, we're talking true vintage or like the nostalgia tees or like what? Because I
Well,
feel like those are
okay,
two separate
yeah,
things.
yes, you're right. True vintage has legs. True vintage has legs
Dude, true
for
vintage
40
ain't going
years.
nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So no, I'm talking nostalgia teas and this bubble per se or boom that we're experiencing right now. You know, it's getting. There was an article in the Financial
I
Post or
know.
something
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Vice magazine did an article. I saw it on a video game
Wall
news
Street
blog.
Journal, I
Yeah, Wall
think.
Street
Yeah.
Journal. It's getting picked up by everybody right now. People are noticing. I've spoke about it before. Guaranteed Instagram's taking notice of this because they're probably thinking, wow, there's people
They want
spending
to cut.
hours on
You know they want to
auction.
cut.
They want to cut. So yeah, where do you think this is going?
That's a very fascinating question because I don't think, I mean, none of us are sure. But if you would have asked me that question 2.5 months ago, I would have said the bubble is going to pop. That's not my answer now. So I mean, it's like, yeah. So I mean, it's changing fucking so rapidly that, yeah. Uh, no, and I feel like all the people that are invested emotionally and financially in these fucking shirts aren't gonna like give up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Question
yeah.
then on that note. So you're selling a lot on Instagram. How much of your sales, percentage wise, you know, rough number, are going to other dealers versus going to like random end user consumer?
Hmm. Oh, okay. So as far as like my Instagram sales, 90% are going to other resellers that are just like, oh, dope, I want that. Or I'm just like, yeah, take it for a steal. Like I got it. You know what I mean? Because I definitely, and see, I'm at the point where it's kind of like, I actually just talked to a cat that I'm going to be talking to tomorrow. He wants to buy 40 pieces wholesale from me. That'd be my first wholesale order.
That's
I could
great.
totally fulfill that order. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I could definitely be doing that, but I've never been like proposed uh, to to do that. So that's super cool. Yeah, I'm fine with buying for 5, selling for 10, and they sell for 15. That's cool with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
When it's like the volume like that, and see,
Yeah,
like
and
that's what.
you're gonna sell 40 shirts. It could be $1,000 deal. You know, that's like takes you an hour versus trying to sell $1,000 on a live. Could take you like 4 hours and it might not happen. So yeah, I agree with that. I'll do that all day. It's interesting to me though that point
Perspective.
you said 90%. is other dealers right now. And I feel like it
Yeah.
is too. On the live I did with Coop, we had a lot of resellers buying. And I'm so down with it. Like if someone's going to pay me fair price for a shirt and go make more money, you have the customer base. You worked hard to get that customer base, and you can get more money than me. I'm I'm game. I'm never in this just to
Yeah.
getting the most money. But
Right. I
I'm
mean, like I lob stuff to like the like homie prices or, like, oh, he's been looking for that shirt. Instead of me buying it from some stranger and then trying to resell it to him, I'll just send him the link. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like that's that shirt you've been wanting. It's for low because I mean, I don't know. It's just like a lot of changing hands, but
yeah,
ah,
it's interesting to me, and I don't that pointing that out doesn't really have like any bearing on if this market is going to keep going or not. It's just I feel like since COVID, there's been so much more dealers buying from dealers, and then even they're selling to other dealers too, and it's just
it's like only dealers.
yeah, it just keeps growing, and there's more dealers coming in and buying from more dealers, and
Yeah.
obviously there's some end users out there, of course, but
But I
uh,
mean, do you know how many people that have started following me in the past month that have two posts, and I'm not saying anything like that's, you know, I don't test like people's pedigree because but there's just so many new accounts, like so many new people. Like I feel like, I've had my foot in the door. I've definitely had my foot in the door. Like, I don't need social media or nostalgia t-shirts to keep doing what I'm doing full time. You
yeah,
understand me?
totally.
But it's so much fun. It's just like a big club in a way. Like it's hard to explain. And then there are cliques. It's almost like fucking high school in a way. A little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're so true. Like if you look at the Earthling had their event, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. You had they said they had 500 people come. I probably knew a ton of those people. I saw everybody posting pictures. Everyone's broing down. Half the people, I don't know about half, but a lot of
Yeah.
people went just to like see their homies. It's like this is going to be an event. We get to like
Right.
chum it up,
Oh,
and
and the same with the virtual flea, kind of. The one that's in
yeah,
Orlando.
totally. And then that they even kind of marketed it like that, like meet your favorite dealers. Like now face to face, you get to meet the other guys in the business and
I mean,
women in
it's
the
epic.
business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to that?
Yeah. Well, actually, I was like, oh, I wish I could. But, and that's interesting because, with the amount of money that I made off of Cortland's fucking charity, it's amazing. I thought, of course, I should like double down, buy more, buy more, sell more, or like reinvest, like maybe wholesale from him or, something like that. Um, which I'm for sure like open to doing and still like plan on doing. But hope, the Airbnb was $65 a night. Flights were cheap. I threw a few $100s at it, and I'm definitely going. And it's gonna put me more like on the scene, and I'm gonna get to meet like Renzo La Bogadita. Like even when I was in LA, him and his wife had me over for dinner. It was
No way.
amazing. Like yeah, we hung out. Like and we're like, and I get to bring Jake, which is cool because for him it's been like a little hard because he's like so outside of the scene and like let's be real, a couple nights a week I stay up drinking talking to strange dudes all night essentially about t-shirts, you know what I mean, like, but it's true, that's like what I'm doing, you know I mean, I have so many like on first name basis people that I'm like so ready to see, and like it's gonna like Big Mike's, Megan, Venerable Upside, or the Real V Word, change it, but yeah, like tons of people that I am like close with, like I'm invested in more than the
Yeah,
shirts. I'm
that's
not
so cool.
vending. I'm just gonna go and hang out.
That's so cool.
It is cool.
I really, I'm proud of Chris for doing that. I don't know the
Genius move.
Wiz, but I'm proud of those guys for doing it. It's one thing to come out and have the virtual flea. You can sit in your living room and do this thing. Amazing move, regardless. But then it's a
Yeah.
whole nother thing to be like, we're coming out live, face to face, doing a real event. It's so much more organization. It's more
Yes.
commitment. There's potentially more to lose, and I think it's big moves for those guys. It's big moves.
Yes. Big moves. And the vendor slots like sold out. And then I think that they just announced tonight that they talked to the like whoever's the venue host or whatever, whatever the fairground people,
Yeah.
and got 10 more spots. And I bet you it's going to be sold out tomorrow.
Oh, they upped it. Eh? That's cool. Yeah, they'll sell out in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So
Especially because I mean, it's like the community, the community, the community. Like I had never knew like what is the community. Like when people would say that, I was just like, what? There's a community. And now it's just like, at first I was like, that kind of sounds like lame to say it or something. I don't know. But I'm in the community now. Like I'm in the community. Like yeah. So crazy.
yeah, it's really grown. It's really grown fast, and there was always a community, but it's gotten wild. You know, it used to be our community was kind of tighter crew in Southern California. Then when Instagram came out, it became you could reach people all over the place. And when I started doing these podcasts, I guess I've only been doing this for a year and a bit, not that long.
Okay. Okay.
And you know, then this whole thing came after that. So like my thing was just to like talk to people in the business and see what's going on, and then like there's all these news things happening, and then it's growing, and there's so many more people getting involved, and like I get a lot of people watching these now, and it blows my mind. It's crazy. I literally
Yeah.
just started this to kind of like spread some knowledge, some business
Like
knowledge.
you're famous. You're famous. Like I went on with Mr. Wear It All last night or earlier tonight for Wear It All Wednesdays. And I was like, yeah, because he's like, oh, Tara parties, like she's gonna go hard, like blah 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 before I went on. And I was like, y'all, I'm gonna drink a little bit with you, but I am doing an interview with Drew Heifetz, and his face was like, holy shit. And it was like, oh my God, like that
That's so
was like a
funny.
magic word.
I get so stoked when people hit me up and they're like just hype at the content I put out with the people I put out
Yeah.
with. So
Well, I feel like you're just so genuine, and also that sharing of knowledge, like not hoarding it, not trying to, you know, yeah, I mean, you can't transfer it all, but you can share and be open minded to like, oh yeah, like that you just taught me some shit about some Levi's that I'll probably never ever be able to
no,
find. You
now
know what I mean?
you're
Like,
gonna find them like the next time you go
dude,
pick them,
I doubt that highly. You're talking about like
because
1930s
it's
Levi's.
it's manifestation now that it's in your brain. You
Ooh,
got it.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right.
So you're only my third female guest on the show,
Okay. I've
and
seen
that
you with Unseen.
yeah, Ava from Unseen did an episode, and
Mhm.
then another friend of mine did an episode. Low
Okay.
Life is
I'll
her
have to catch
handle,
that.
and that was an early episode. But yeah, stoked to have you on the show, of course. I want to talk about that. So, are you in any of the all? There's a couple all female groups. Are you in any of these groups?
No.
Okay, okay, okay. Moving on.
I mean, that's cool and all love, but like I've got some like big dogs putting me up. I don't need other female support,
Yeah,
to be honest.
fair
Like
enough.
I'll support my other females, but like I don't need hype.
So, like, speak on that like, a little bit. You know, this is like a very highly male dominated business. Obviously, a lot of great people in it, but is there any challenges with that being a female?
Okay. Well, coming from my true vintage background, every Etsy seller that was selling old lady clothes, dead old lady clothes, was a female. So really it wasn't. It was a girls club.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
totally.
Like no one's so just the t-shirts is the boy thing. So that's why I'm kind of just like people are like, wow, you're a girl. I'm like, yeah, okay, I've been doing it. Like, what are you talking about? I didn't because I didn't realize that there was a community. I didn't know that the community was 90% men.
Yeah,
So I've just been doing me. I've just been over here doing my thing. Yeah. So I don't really feel like, I mean, maybe like the people's reactions be like, oh, damn, I've never seen a girl with like heat like that. Like those little comments are like, oh, does she have a fans only and stuff like that? Like,
oh,
maybe.
people throw that out on the lives. Come on.
But there are people in the community that, there are, I know there's some females in the community that do that, which I feel like kind of, That's why I kind of try to distance myself from like female vendor. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm Tara. I'm
Yeah,
Tiger style.
totally.
You know, I don't need to associate myself with girls have to stay motivated and keep each other together. Like, nah, it ain't like that. Like, I'm doing me. And if they're doing
Okay.
them, if they're doing
I
them,
feel the vibe. I feel the vibe.
yeah, if they're doing them, I'll support that. But like, I don't need to be like, I don't need that support in that way.
So my next question, well, not really a question, but a discussion about when you look at even true vintage, okay, all I don't know. This is like my experience, and this is just my experience when it comes to what Japan wants, when it comes to older workwear, denim,
Mm-hmm.
now the t-shirt market. Typically, men's vintage garners a lot higher prices than female vintage. Have you noticed that in your journey, or is that just me? Because I'm a man and I probably sell more men's clothes than female clothes, although we sell tons of female vintage.
Truly for me, well, yeah, I mean, like, and I fucking love workwear so much, like chore coats, like,
Yeah.
oh, payday. Oh, I love payday. And, you know, like, but that for me is like something that I would buy, like, I would pay retail at.
Yeah.
So, like, let alone finding them, like, at the bins, which I have done before, which is insane. Um, I don't know really the answer to that, honestly. I think that the girl stuff, I mean, like the high ticket items that I've sold have been like girls shit,
Yeah. Okay.
you know? Yeah, yeah. Like like hand sequined silk dresses from the 50s for like 120. You know, like that. But chore coats, sure. I actually haven't even like sold a chore coat in a while just because I can't get myself to do it. Because I like wearing them. But
Me too. I have to
yeah,
get
okay, like, oh, awesome. No, like an inspirational person, and I'm sure like I don't know this person and they are in LA, but like day one, like that was my goals back then before like it was nostalgic teas, right? But like Moth Food. Do you follow Moth Food? Dude, it's just like, oh my God, everything he finds, I'm just like, oh, I would freak out. You know what I mean? Like that
yeah.
true, like, ooh, if
Classic.
it like 50 sweatshirts and like, I don't care if it's thrash or stained or that's my aesthetic really. But I mean, look at what I got. And this made me happy. And
So
this is Bukowski with Robert Crumb fucking drawing.
damn.
And yeah, so a friend, Silver Shamrock, hooked me up. Like a friend, I just said, and I didn't know him 3 months ago. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Man, it's a little tight on me, like personal grail, like okay, like." And he sold it my way just because like I love Bukowski as
That's
an author and
that's a
like
rad shirt. So
yeah, it is.
Crumb has the classic graphic "Keep on trucking."
Yes, but he also illustrated several of Bukowski's novels
Okay,
and
cool.
poetry books. So
Yeah,
and I like I
he's like 60s, 70s era.
yeah.
Super rad shirt.
Thank you. So I'm talking
Yay!
about pay, like, you know, I guess maybe my focus has shifted. So I'm not trying to buy 50 sweatshirts right now. I'm trying to find like cool t-shirts. I don't know. Maybe it's just a phase that I'm going through, but I'm in it.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you. Same with me. I still
What
buy.
shirt are you wearing?
Oh, this is like one I always rock. This is the Pennzoil Peyote.
Okay.
Superior,
I mean,
superior quality, safe hallucinations.
okay. So what I thought, I was like, peyote's a drug, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Peyote's like the cactus. It's made to trip out and find yourself.
Right. Nice.
Um, so yeah, I mean, we still buy everything else, but I find myself like throwing all this shit now in the
Yeah, like
corner of the
caring a
warehouse,
little
and
bit
then just
more.
like looking through these T-shirts all day, and
Yep.
I find it so hard to even understand the market. And I used to be like, I know the prices of all these teas. I'd go to the Rose Bowl. I'd be like, boom, 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 price
Yeah,
them
yeah,
out. Now I'm like, I don't even know what that's worth anymore. It probably
I know.
changed yesterday.
Yeah. yeah, it's definitely, and especially for someone who was really good at pricing things, for my Etsy shop and for my booth and whatever. But like with the t-shirt shit, it's like, damn, I really straight up don't know. And that's another cool thing that Cortland was like, hey, if you ever have a question, or like, we talk daily. Like I send him like, is this worth it? Should I buy this? He'd be like, nah, probably worth 85. Like, why buy it at 75 to ship it, to someone else for 85? Like that's a $5 profit. That's a lot of you know
Yeah.
wasted
Too much
effort.
work.
So yeah.
We're at the point of the show where we have to come up with a challenge for the listeners.
Okay.
What do you got
Yeah,
for
and
us?
my challenge, it's funny because like you told me to come up with one. I was like, oh, that's right, I need to. And I wanted to like jog my own memory, so I wrote it, but I put it on my phone. That was when I thought we were doing the computer thing. So I'm gonna have to like off the top of my head do this. But my challenge, um, for y'all would really be to, okay, first off, keyword diversify. So yeah, t-shirts might be your favorite thing, or true, like whatever. But I've sold books, magazines, you know what I mean? It's not all about clothes. Like if um as a reseller, trust your gut, you know, I call it like soft eyes, which is actually a reference from The Wire. So like when they're like on a crime scene, like looking for like a detail, they call it soft eyes. It just means like slow down, keep your eyes open, and like keep more of an open mind. It's like just have soft eyes. Um, yeah. So like just if you go to the racks, you go to the bins, you don't find any clothes. It doesn't have to be like an unfruitful trip. You know what I'm saying? Like a poster or jewelry or so yeah, I mean, I phrased it better when I wrote it down.
No, I get the gist, 100%.
Right.
Diversify, take advantage of your surroundings,
Soft eyes.
make the best of your situation with soft eyes.
Mm-hmm. Soft eyes for sure.
And I am all about that challenge. So hit us up, guys. Let us know what you find. If you're stepping out of your comfort zone and finding something cool,
Yeah.
send it to us. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see it.
Mm-hmm. And if you think it's pretty cool, odds are someone else does too. So, I mean, yeah, just trust your instincts. Don't think, oh,
Take
well,
the
I don't
gamble.
know much about how much this is. Like, if you can get it at a steal, get it. Just take it home. Become a hoarder like me.
Yeah, fill your basement, fill your garage, fill your bedroom, and when it's all full, get a storage unit and just keep filling that.
Right? Dead money. Lots of dead money.
Okay, so you have any shout outs? Anybody you want to
Mm,
acknowledge? Anything else you want
there's
to go over here on the
okay.
show?
I mean, honestly, there's too many shout outs to do because I know that like I'll feel like I left someone out. And I already shouted out Lenny.
Yep.
So, and I feel like that's like day one for sure.
You could just shout out the community.
Shout out to the community. You know who you are. You know if Tara fucks with you, right? And if I don't yet, come fuck with me, right? Let's be
Yes.
friends. Let's do
Hit
it.
this girl up, Tiger style.
Tiger Style USA.
Okay, we're gonna end it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so happy for your newfound success and you winning the contest. It sounded like a lot of fun, and we will for sure meet in the future, face to face.
Okay, you promise?
I do. Maybe I'll see you in
Also,
Florida.
okay.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. That's all I got. You know the drill. Check out my Patreon, link down below. Check out my Amazon, link down below. Go shop FAsInFrankVintage.com. Above all, be good to each other. Be happy, not crappy, in the words of my dad, Dave Heifetz. And take care of the goddamn planet. Start putting the planet first in your decisions. Everything you do in your life and business, start thinking about the planet. If you have kids, do you want your kids to grow up in a world Well, I mean, to be honest, like if we're all extinct in 100 years, your kids won't have anywhere to live anyway. So come on, we got to start thinking about this shit. We got to do more. We got to do better. We got to really focus on it. Sustainability is something that you can do forever and it won't deplete the resources around you. That's a tough claim. And most people throwing around the word sustainability are not really sustainable. You know, reworking clothing, I don't even know if that is sustainable, to tell you the truth, because like eventually maybe we're going to run out of used clothes if we didn't produce any more new clothes to actually rework. So I don't even know if that's truly in the definition of the word sustainable. It's definitely helping, and I'm going to keep doing it, and I think you should keep selling secondhand clothes because it's definitely the way in the right direction. But be good to you. I'm out. That's it. I can't talk tonight. Later. See you on the next one.